You've heard of Wingspan, sure, the bird collection game? Well, this is Wyrmspan. Wingspan, but with dragons, and a few other changes to make it its own entity. It's new to this year, it just came out in 2024, and it's a lot of fun, and it's like Wingspan, but hyped up and on, and it's a little bit more difficult than Wingspan by itself. So, today we're going to be getting into how to set up, how to play, and how to win at Wyrmspan. So starting off, as you can see here, I've kind of laid out all the boards here. I'll kind of go through step by step on how to set up everything. Everyone will take one of these boards here that have some really nice drawings on it, sort of Japanese style, and take this board and take a color of their choice from the options. Once they've taken the color that they want, they are going to take this little wanderer here and put him here on base camp. Set aside all of these squares and take their shield and add it onto the Dragon's Guild tracker, which is probably the biggest difference between this game and Wingspan is this Dragon Guild tracker. And also, each player will take 6 silver coins. They will also take an egg that they can store here. And then they will also get 3 dragon cards and 3 caverns. Once all those have been passed out to each of the players, then you can go ahead and flip out 3 for a draw deck. Now the player will take their 3 dragons and the 3 caverns and choose to keep 4 total amongst the 3. Ways to kind of formulate a strategy depend on what is on this board here. So this board has a number of different objectives that you need to reach. This game takes place over 4 different rounds in which scoring is done at the end of each round. A round is completed once everyone has run out of silver tokens to use. So for this round marker here, I'll go ahead and flip over 4 different rounds. So in looking at this, you might look at these cards here and try to decide on which of these is better depending on what's out here. That's a good way to earn victory points in this game to be competitive. So for the first one here, it's cached resources on your player mat. There are a number of cards that allow you to cache resources onto them. So, for instance, this vampiric horn dragon here, one of its abilities is it allows you to cache milk onto this. There are 4 goods tokens in which are used to attract dragons. One of them is milk, one of them is quartz, one of them is gold, and one of them is meat. This next one here is small dragons on your player mat, which the dragons have different sizes. They go from hatchling, small, medium, and then large. This next one is dragons that have a printed cost of 3+, resources, coins, or eggs. And I'll get into explaining all these at the end here. And large dragons on your player mat. So these are all 3 hatched. So not exactly beneficial for anything other than the caching aspect. We'll keep the Savannah Dragonette and the Vampiric Horned Dragon. So that's 2 cards. This one will go into a discard pile. And then I can choose to keep 2 of these caverns. So I guess before we get any further, let's look at some of these dragon cards. So for instance, on this Vampiric Horned Dragon, which we will show here. On this dragon here, in the top left corner, it has a little bar. What that bar is what is needed in which to attract this dragon. So you have to have 1 egg and 2 milk. If you look in the top right corner, it has a tail with a number in it. That is how many victory points this card is at the end of the game. It also has a size underneath it. Like I said earlier, they go from hatchling, small, medium, and then large. Hatchling being, of course, the smallest. If you look at the left side of the board here, it tells you what habitats they can live in. So the top one is a red, the second one is a yellow, and the third one is a purple. And if you look at our board, you can see they're laid out with a red, a yellow, and a purple environment. So whenever playing this card, you could not play it in either the second or first area. You would have to play it into the first. Also, in the bottom right corner of the card, you can see a personality type of the dragon. This one is aggressive. They have playful, helpful, aggressive, and shy. And then beneath that, it tells you what the card does. So, for instance, on this one, it has that little explorer. What that means is whenever you explore on the map, you'll cache a milk onto from your supply here. And we'll get into what the exploring means in the play aspect of the game. Also, anytime you cache milk there, you gain a meat. And then once the third milk is cached there, you gain, that symbol is another silver token. So that means you get another turn. So we chose to keep these two dragons. Next thing we're going to talk about are these caverns here. So different from Wingspan is you have to basically make the environment suitable for these dragons. Instead of paying egg costs to expand outward on your board, you have to basically pay eggs to build caverns. However, your first cavern is already dug out, so you don't have to put a cavern card in the first column. Second column, you do have to put a cavern card here, but there's no extra cost here. All it costs is one turn marker in which to do so. Onto the third column here, it costs a turn marker and also one egg. Then the final round here, it costs 2 eggs to put a cavern here. So looking at these, a couple of these have things about caching resources on them. So we're going to go ahead and keep those two. And we'll throw away this cavern. So now we have 2 caverns and we have 2 dragons. And now we can look at these dragons and caverns and decide what resources we want. At the beginning of the game, you get 3 resources. So looking at these, we need a lot of milk. We need some milk. So we're going to go ahead and get 3 milk. And they just store somewhere off the side of your board. Next thing for setup is we need to look at this dragon guild here. So new to this game, different from Wingspan, is a dragon guild. And basically, it's a way to go around this board and get random resources. So we have eggs here, we have meat, we have quartz, we have gold, we have milk. We also have here, this is drawing a dragon card. This is drawing a cavern card. This is getting getting a silver coin, which is a whole nother turn. And then once you get to one of these 2 checkpoints here, you get to look at one of these boards and add one of these cubes to it. Whenever you add one of those cubes, you get a special benefit for it. We'll go with the Plains Guild here, just for an example. So once I get all the way to here, I can choose to place one of my markers on here. So looking at the options here, you can pay 1 egg. I can draw a cavern card and play it for free. Next one is pay 2 eggs, and then they play a dragon card from their hand for free. Next one is gain a silver token, and that gives me a whole nother turn, and I get to lay 2 eggs. Last one here deals with the end game, and you gain 1 victory point for every 2 eggs that you have round down. The last one here is just victory points. If you were to put 1 here, you'd get 6 victory points at the end of the game. So now that I've chosen my dragons, I've chosen my caverns, I've chosen my resources, then we are ready to get into the game. And every single player will choose a number of dragons/caverns that they want to keep, and they will also choose 3 resources that they want from them. So now we'll get into the actual gameplay of this game. So we have to keep in mind this scoring over here because at the end of each round, which this game has turns and rounds, which are important to delineate between. Each turn, I'm going to do something, and it moves to the next player, and they'll do something, and comes all the way back around. Once I've spent all of my silver chips, my turns are done, and that ends the round for me. However, we don't move to the scoring aspect until everyone has ended their round. Like I said, these first caverns here are already excavated, so we don't have to worry about putting caverns there. Now, if you look at the side of your board here, this lists out everything you can do on your turn and gives you the costs in which to do so. First one is excavating. Let's say I want to put a cavern here. Then what I'd have to do is I would have to pay one of my silver coins, which, like I said, these are basically allow you to do anything in this game. I had to turn that in. Then I would go through my cavern cards and choose one to play. So, but I'll play this here. What this allows me to do is, if I played it after a dragon card, is I could cash 2 resources from the general supply and put them onto a dragon card. Doesn't benefit me here, but you also notice there's these symbols here. There are a number of symbols that are new to this game. If you see a card being laid down, what that means is it's a when played ability. I'll show that here. Also, there is one that has a little explorer guy. And what this means is there is an action called exploring, which means it only triggers during that action. Another one has like a stopwatch, and that just means it's once per round, which, like I remember, these are turns that we're doing, and then there are 4 rounds in the game. Last thing is a flag with a dragon tail on it, and that means it's in-game bonuses. I played that here. I don't get to take the benefit of it because I don't have any dragon cards out there, but that's an example of excavate. Basically, you'll just fill in this little small square within the larger rectangle. Next thing is enticing, and that is how you get dragons onto your board. So, for instance, let's say I wanted to get this vampiric horned dragon that we've been talking so much about. It costs an egg, which I have here, and 2 milk. I'll return to the general supply. Now I can place this dragon onto my board. Right now, there's only one place I can put him because you have to start from the left and work your way to the right. So I will go ahead and place him here, covering up this stop sign, which is very important for the next step. So, no benefit for placing him other than he's on my board now. However, next thing we're going to look at is exploring. So, exploring, and also whenever I play this dragon, it costs 1 silver plus the cost that was on the card, which was an egg and 2 milk. Next thing is exploring. So exploring, depending on how many times you've explored this round, it depends on how much it costs. So the first time I will explore here, it costs 1 silver. So I'll go ahead and turn that in. Then I will follow the track going from left to right, which is opposite from Wingspan. I will gain a cavern card, so I can draw one here, or I can blind draw from the top here. So for the sake of this, I'll just blind draw this card. Then you'll move to this card, and since it does have an explorer on it, you can go ahead and capitalize on that ability. It says cash 1 milk from your supply here. I happen to have 1 milk, so I will go ahead and cash it onto this card. Cashed items at the end of the game are victory points, so good things to have for sure. And since I cashed a milk here, I get a meat from supply. Then we'll move along here. And since I'm here, I gain, you see this symbol here is a Dragon Guild symbol, same as this one here. And I'll move this along here. That gets me 1 egg. Now, I try to move further, however, I reach the stop sign. Whenever you reach a stop sign, that's the end of your exploring for the round. So you'll return your character back to base camp. Then at the end of each of your turns, make sure you have 9 total cards between dragons and caverns, 9 coins at a max, and then 9 resources, which we're not in risk of any of that right now, but these are things you need to check at the end of each turn. That's the 3 actions you can take during a game. Is you can excavate, you can entice, or you can explore. Now, there is a lot of complication in this game, which comes from the caverns themselves. Each of them do different things. Each of your dragons do different things. And depending on where you're exploring or what you get. Pretty much, if you need food in which to entice dragons, you will come up here because that's where your food action is. If you need more dragons because you need to expand further, you need to go here to draw dragon cards. You need more cavern cards, you're coming down here to the bottom to get more cavern cards. If you get far enough along the track, you get to lay eggs as well. But a lot of these cards allow you to lay eggs, and you can also lay eggs by going around the Dragon Guild here. It's not an action in this game the way it was with Wingspan, but there are plenty of other ways to lay eggs. That's an example of a turn of this. You'll keep going around, putting more and more dragons onto your board, excavating more and more, and exploring more and more. As you can see with the Explore, it gets a little bit more expensive each time you explore in a region. You come to the second region up here, you're only going to pay this cost. Second time you come here, you're going to pay this cost. And third. If you ever have too much goods and you need one specific good, let's say you need a milk, but you have an extra meat and a gold and amethyst and a quartz, I should say, you can trade in two of these and get one resource that you really need. So, if you have any questions about a card you've come across, please get in the comment section and we'll let you know what we can do to help you out with that. Same with cavern cards. But once everyone has taken all their turns, everyone has run out of these silver chips, then we will go into the scoring phase. So we'll compare progress on each of the different boards, and whoever has the highest amount of progress, so whoever has the most cash resources on your player mat, will get the top point, which in this case will be 4. In the event of ties, you share this spot. And once all that is done, then we'll move this round marker over. So between rounds 1 and 2, we refresh the dragons, which means just basically trash all the dragons that are on the board, since probably they've been sitting there for a minute and no one's taken them. Same thing with the caverns. And even if they weren't, they still leave, regardless of if they were wanted. And we'll flip 3 new dragons onto the board. Next thing is everyone gains 6 more of these silver coins, because these are basically what you use to have another turn. And you also get 1 egg from some. And then we move into round 2, in which case we'll do all of this again. And at the end of that round, we'll be scoring however many small dragons are on. So you keep doing this. You'll do it 4 times, and you'll get scores along here each time as you do. And once you get through 4 rounds, the game ends. And at that point, you're looking at scoring. So there are a lot of different ways to score points in this game. It's a point salad game for sure, in the sense that you can get points from almost anything you're doing on this board. And so there's a lot of different strategies to take into account. So we'll kind of go through the score pad here and explain what scoring is. First thing is markers on the Dragon Guild. So basically, there are certain places you can place onto this Dragon Guild that which you can get victory. So this would be where you would add the 6 if you had a marker here on the guild tracker for that. Next thing is tails printed on dragons, which is like I spoke earlier about victory points on your dragons. So this hatchling here has 2 victory points. You would add up all the cards you have on your board, and that total amount will be what you put for printed victory points on your dragons. Next thing is in-game abilities. So if you have any of those dragons who have looks like a flag with a dragon tail on it, then those would be calculated at this point. Next one is 1 dragon point per egg. So every single egg that you have on your board, whether it's on your board or on a dragon, is 1 victory point. 1 victory point per cached resource. So like I have this milk cached here, that's 1 victory point. 1 victory point per tucked cards. Some of these cards have abilities in which they allow you to tuck cards behind them. So for instance, if this tucked ability allowed me to put a card behind it, I would just put it like so. And that would be 1 victory point, because it would be 1 victory point per card underneath cards. And this could stack up to 10 cards if it was a tuck card ability. And I say 10, it can go as high as you have turns to get it there. Next thing is victory points per public objectives, which these are your 4 public objectives here, and just depending on where you ranked on this is how many points you get. So in this example, I have 4 here, 2 here, I have 6 here, makes 12, plus 4 is 16, so I'd have 16 points from this tracker. And then the last thing is victory points for remaining coins and items. So for every silver coin you have, if you happen to keep any of these, are worth 1 victory point. And you have 1 victory point for every 4 resources, dragon cards, or cavern cards. If you have a total of 4, then you get a victory. Total of 8, you get 2 victory points, and so on. But otherwise, that is all the points you would get for this game. This is a fun game. It is a bit complicated, but that's part of the allure of it. Is that there's just so many different strategies you can incorporate in which to really make this game your own. And I think that's what the appeal of Wingspan and Wyrmspan really is. It's just there's so many different strategies you can go for and so many different ways in which to rack up points. There's not even necessarily a wrong way. Thank you all for joining us in this video. If you have any questions, just let us know in the comment section below, and we will help you out as much as we can. And let us know if you've played this game. This is a really fun game, and I'm really looking forward to playing this on the channel. I'm really looking forward to playing more games of this. I love dragons, and I love Wingspan. It sounds like a marriage made in heaven. Thank you all for joining us. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time because that's the way we roll.